Hi, Kelly, and hi, everybody out there. Welcome back to Life Talk with Janice and Kelly. And today we're going to talk about like attracts like.
Yep.
Kelly, I'm going to let you start off with that. Tell me what you tell clients about like attracts like.
Right. This I have said way before I even understood quantum physics and that. Um, and saying it in the context of you have to do your emotional healing work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think for people to genuinely live the life they want, you have to heal what's in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things in a number of females that I have seen is they do a little bit of work, and a lot of times it centers around a male in their lives, a relationship in their lives, and they want a new relationship. And so my point to them is we attract people based on our own emotional health. Because the entire universe is energy. We are energy, the computer, everything's energy. So then throw in the understanding of the quantum physics. So I changed my wording a little bit in that if we are emotionally unhealthy, meaning we haven't done our emotional healing work, we haven't healed the things in our past, we will continue to attract people at the same level of emotional unhealth. Because energy is familiar. We attract what we're familiar with. And when you do your emotional healing work and you are emotionally healthy, you will attract emotionally healthy people in your life.
Okay. And do they believe you when you tell them this?
No, not at first. Sometimes it takes work. Some of them never do. Some of them get a little bit of relief and then go off into another relationship. I have a person that did that. I've seen them many different times for a period of time. So they'll get a little relief and then go into another relationship and then come back because they didn't finish their work. You have to finish your work.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to.
Have to do. And when you don't have the awareness that you have work to do, then what I tell clients is that you're going to attract what is comfortable.
Mm-hmm. What's familiar?
You're going to choose what is familiar and comfortable. So your relationships are going to mirror the relationships in your family during childhood, because that is familiar and comfortable. So that's why we often pick people who are similar to one or both of our parents.
Yeah, because you've heard people who say, oh, I married someone just like my dad. I did. I wasn't aware of it to that degree, but my dad was a narcissist. And I married a narcissist because it was familiar. It was familiar energy. And I was like, oh, this is love. And it was just familiar energy because I hadn't done my own emotional healing work at that point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I have women who come in and say, why do I keep picking this particular kind of relationship? Well, honey, it's because it's easy and it's familiar, and it winds up putting you in the same place as your last relationship, which looked a lot like this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought I chose totally different. He seemed totally different. And well, or she, well, yeah, in the beginning, it might feel totally different, but in the end, it's the same.
Yeah.
And, and I can't throw shade on anybody because I've often said my own picker is broken, but it's the truth. And so when you say you pick someone like your father, there were things about my father that I wanted in my marriage. And so I did deliberately pick those things.
Mhm. But what isn't accounted for is all the other things that weren't like your dad.
Yeah, because they come in a package.
Yeah, there is a hole. Yeah.
There's the whole.
So healthy people choose healthy people
Mhm.
because energy attracts to itself.
Mhm.
It's we like energy attracts. So healthy people are not going to be attracted to unhealthy people.
No, nope.
So if you want a healthy relationship, you have to get healthy. It, you know, you
It's a
have to-
requirement.
yeah,
It's a
yeah, and
because if you're unhealthy and you pick somebody who's healthy, they're not going to stay around very long.
absolutely, they won't tolerate it.
They won't tolerate it.
I was watching, scrolling through social media the other day, and someone that I follow was making this comment about um, adult conversations, and the conversation isn't as important as, and I don't typically respond on social media, but what I posted was, I think you need to back up some. The conversation doesn't need to be this, it needs to be what is actually an adult conversation. Because so many people don't know how to have adult conversations.
Reactive or responsive.
Yes, because we're trying to have these conversations from an unhealthy, energetic place.
From this point of view.
Yes. And it's kind of like one of the other videos we talked about is when we have done our work, we can hear what someone says instead of personalizing it.
Mhm.
But when you haven't done your work, you get triggered also, you get defensive, and then you fight back
Mhm.
instead of just hearing what the other person has to say. And that's part of a healthy relationship. And I know we've said this so many times, and it could be because we're therapists, because we've done our own work, but you have to do your work. And you've seen this, I've seen this, I'm sure every other therapist has. A client comes in and they get to a place where they feel better, but they don't finish.
Right. They disappear. I feel better. I got relief. So
And
it's
that
like medicine. The
yeah,
doctor gives you medicine, you feel better, you quit taking it.
well, so you had take a 10-day prescription of antibiotics, but you quit at day 7. Well, you haven't killed the bacteria that caused the infection to begin with, so it comes back.
Or the antidepressant
Mhm.
that the doctor put you on. And some point during that 30 days, you begin to feel a little better. So I don't need it anymore.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things I tell people in the beginning is commit to yourself to finish the work. Because I'm happy to see return clients
Mhm.
and start that process over with them again. But why not do it to begin with and never see me again?
Mhm.
That's what I
Get
would
it
prefer.
done.
Do it. And I've shared with you, I put myself through a lot to get well
Mhm.
because I didn't like the way I felt. And I was going to keep doing it until I no longer felt that way.
Mhm.
And then I'm done.
Yep.
Because things that show up now don't pile on or compound the issues.
Mhm.
They're just that situation as it is. And I figure it out and move on. I don't have to put it in the pile of stuff I haven't worked on, and then it get mixed in, and then there's one more thing I have to do.
Right. Right. Well, you are a get it done kind of girl.
I am. But that's why I really like seeing young people. Because I'm like, if you stick with this,
Mhm.
you can be done for the rest of your life. I will teach you how to not put anything back in your state level drawer for the rest of your life. If you
Oh,
just,
and that's what you can get jazzed about. They talk about, why do you do the work you do?
Mhm.
I get asked, that fairly often. Because you can get jazzed about helping somebody eliminate something that will go with them through time.
yes. And that's, if you're young, if you're 20, we only have 20 years of stuff.
Mhm.
But if you're 40 or you're 50, we have a lot of stuff to work through.
70.
Yeah. And how much more beneficial would it be for our society to value therapy
Mhm.
and have, we're at the age where the generations below us are going to be telling us what we're going to do and not do, or have control over what we get and don't get.
Mhm.
And I want them to be healthy making those decisions. I don't want them to be dysregulated people making those decisions.
That's true. That is true.
So, figuring out a way to make mental health a priority instead of something that's, you secretively go to.
Yep. Yeah. That it's if you go to counseling, it doesn't mean you're weak.
No.
It means that you're going to increase the number of tools in your toolbox.
Mhm. And we have all had life experiences that were unfavorable.
Mhm.
How can we say that we don't and we don't need counseling just because we've had these experiences? Well, that's why counselors are trained to have the tools to help the clients learn them so they can live life the way they want.
Right. Exactly. So you have a choice, you can decide, you can choose, you can visualize, you can have the life you want.
Yes. So
It
go
might
see
not
a
come in the
counselor.
time frame that you might want it, but you can have it.
Yeah, you can. So go do your work. Go to a therapist. It's not shameful. It's actually courageous.
It is very courageous.
Mhm.
It is very courageous.
And if you use what I used, I didn't like the way I felt. And when I started, when I realized this isn't working for me, I went to someone who did a particular modality and it didn't work. I
Go
was
find
just,
another one.
go find another one. I was tired of telling my story. Go find another one. And I
Mhm.
just kept on and kept on and kept on until it all went away.
Mhm.
Yeah, it not everyone matches everyone else. Um, but someone, I have a very particular style. It's part of my personality. I'm like, let's get in there and get done with it so you can move on and I can move on. Um, other Some people may not like that style, which is fine. Find
Yeah,
someone who
because
does.
there are other people with a different kind of style. It
Yes,
doesn't mean that I'm any less skilled. It means my approach to it is not. My
right.
daughter, when people come to her and say, because she's a particular service provider herself, and when people come to her, even friends, and say, "Isn't your mother a counselor? And I need a good counselor," and she'll say, "Nah, don't go to my mom unless you're willing to work."
Right. Yeah. And because I'm that, let's just do this. And we just start, and some clients can't handle that. And I recognize that. And I've told you before, I have a front door approach, which is what I prefer. And sometimes I have to use a back door approach because the
Yep.
client is just not in a place where they can handle me coming barreling through the front door.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Me too.
Yes. Yes. We have a lot
It's very
of
similar.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for sharing that, Kelly. And like and subscribe because we have more tips on what we tell clients, and we'd love to share those with you. So come back and see us at Life Talk with Janice and Kelly.
All right. See ya.
Okay. Bye-bye.